Hello and welcome to 2019. Hope everyone's doing well. How is everyone? Good to be back, ready to go again for another year of exciting photography. All right, hopefully you can hear me okay and everything's working. I think it is. It looks like it is. It's always my worry when I start Pixel Chatter. But good morning to Pixel Chatter, first episode for 2019. Got a few questions for you this episode to see what it is we do with this show throughout 2019. Whether we mix it up, leave it the same, do it less often, do it more often, change the day. I want your feedback. I'm going to ask you that shortly. Of course, we've got the normal things that we do, segments, whatever you want to call them in the show. We have got some VIP images to take a look at and announce the winners for a VIP challenge. We're also going to, what else are we going to do? We're going to critique some images. Of course we are. All right, fantastic. Everything good where you are, Tim? That's good over in Florida. Who had a good Christmas break? Did you get out much with the camera? I actually didn't. I thought I would, but I didn't get out as much as I would have liked over Christmas. And for different reasons, but mainly just busy with people coming around. It was hot. We have a swimming pool, so that was getting used a fair bit, and just didn't get out. However, excitingly, I've been out recently, but the weather hasn't been great for sunrise or sunset in Sydney. In fact, most sunsets we've had storms in Sydney, and most sunrises have just been cloudy or blue sky. So I haven't really done anything too exciting. However, what is exciting is I'm playing around with this bad boy here. I don't know if that's focusing. There we go. That, my friends, is the Fuji GFX 50S. Currently I have a 45mm lens. And one of the challenges I'm faced with, in fact, I've got the 45mm and the 110mm lens. That is thanks to my friends over at Fujifilm Australia. It's not my camera. It's on loan for a couple of weeks whilst I do some shooting with it. And one of the things that I'm challenged with is the fact I don't have a wide-angle lens. They didn't have the wide-angle available, I believe. Somebody in WA has it. Another YouTuber. Anyway, I'll let you guess who that is. Has the wide-angle lens. And the 50R, which is the new rangefinder medium format camera, is over in Perth, I'm told. So I'll have to wait for it to come back over. However, it is challenging me, and I did a shoot yesterday morning, which was going to be a vlog video that goes up tomorrow night, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it because I didn't really do much. But I think I'll put it up anyway. All right, let's have a look at the comments and see who we've got here. As usual, I'm looking at my phone, so don't think that I'm doing something like scanning Facebook whilst I'm doing a live video. I'm looking at the comments. I have all your comments in here. See my video at the top there and all your comments below. So, Rick, a tad early but excited. Geez, you were very early, Rick. Wow, 8:04 a.m. So was Brian, Tim, Izzy, g'day, Gary, Sam Allen, g'day, Ren, g'day, Greg, g'day, Dave, hello. Also got there, Bill, Andrew Dawes, g'day, buddy. Hopefully see you next week, and I'm up your way. Charts, g'day. Greg West, hello. Tim Trim. Mike Healy, good morning. Eric, g'day. Susan, Matt's, awesome. So great, straight away, a whole bunch of you turned up. So let me get stuck straight into talking about Pixel Chatter because I want your feedback. And that, this show is for you guys. I do this every week or as often as I can for you guys. And when I look at the stats, one of the things when you look at the video stats for the year, the videos that get the less traction are the live videos for whatever reason. And I just want to make sure it's something that everybody wants me to do, number one, on a weekly basis. Number two, because I do it on a Saturday morning, I was thinking about moving it. First question is, do we keep doing it on a weekly basis, or do you think we should go to fortnightly or monthly? Let me know. And you don't have to do it in the comments right now. You can do it on the Facebook page, whatever you like. The second question I've got is, do we keep doing it at the same time? Because one of the things that I was thinking about doing was moving it to a weeknight, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and that would leave Saturday morning for me to go out and do an additional vlog for the week. Now, if I was to reduce the frequency of pixel chatter, I would replace this time slot or something, this video, with another vlog. And what I think is a lot of people like the vlogs. They like me going out on location and shooting. So I'm interested to get your feedback. Do we reduce the frequency of these, increase the frequency of vlogs? Don't know. If we do keep these weekly or fortnightly, do we change the days? Because then I can, I can get out and shoot more on Saturdays if I'm away, because it does it. But otherwise, I just cancel them. That's the thing when I go out shooting. So there's sort of the questions about pixel chatter, and then the duration of the show. Do I go from 60 minutes to half an hour? Because maybe if they were half an hour, that would be easier for people to stick around. I don't know. Entirely up to you guys. You let me know what you want. I'm very flexible. I enjoy doing the live show. I love doing the live show. So if you want me to keep doing them and how you want me to do them, I'm open to your feedback, especially the VIPs. On that note, I do want to thank the VIPs. So last year, one of the things that I did that was a significant step for my channel was I started a Patreon page. And if you don't know what Patreon is, it's a way for you to support creators that you enjoy watching or interacting with. And as a creator, it's it's one of those things that's difficult to do, is to go out to your community and say, fund what I do. It takes a lot of confidence, and it was very nerve-wracking when I launched that. But I've got to say, I've got a group of very dedicated and supportive VIPs, which I'm really grateful for. And in return, what I've done is I've created a VIP community. Now, VIP stands for Very Important Photographer. And so if you want to join the VIPs, we have an online group, and that's probably the most beneficial part, is we have this online private group where we're sharing pictures, they're asking questions, they're interacting, making new friends. I'm in there, I'm pretty active, so if you ask a question, I'm also in there, but more so there's some great photographers in there. So our group is really taking off. And you can be a patron for as little as $2 per month US. So all you got to do is jump across to patreon.com/on3legs. The link is down below this video. So if you'd like to join in 2019 in the VIP group, please do come and join in the fun. The other thing that I did for the first time ever was released a calendar. Now, some of you bought my calendars. Thank you very much for your support. I still actually have a few left. I didn't know how successful they were going to be, and I ran into a few troubles towards the end of the year getting it out in time, so I was a bit late to the party, to the calendar party, if you like. And so the 2019 calendar was printed, was ready and shipped about a week and a half before Christmas. I still have a few copies left, and the good news is, even if you buy one now, you're still going to get a good 11 months use out of it. So not to fear, you can still make use out of the calendar. Once again, the link's down below, I believe, this video. I can't remember whether I did or did not put it in, but if not, on3legs.com/calendar, and you'll find it. Now, Brian says he likes my haircut. That's good. Gone short for summer. I just got sick of it being long, and just said, you know what, make it short. Get rid of it all. All right. Wow, the comments has been going off like crazy. Let's have another look in there. Chance Arizona. Let's go. Where did I get up to before? Bill. Don't even know where I got up to. Happy 2019. Ockie the Doorman today. Ockie the Doorman. Yeah, he's near the door, isn't he? Good job, Rick. Yeah, you've probably all started to get used. Thanks for Dave for that as well. I am taking Ockie with me on my travels for a bit of fun. If you don't know who Ockie is, I'll show you. This here is Ockie. And Ockie made his way down from Townsville, thanks to Dave, who's in the chat. And Ockie moves around, so you've got to keep an eye out on in each video where Ockie might be, including then in some of my photos. So yesterday he made his way into a photo. Look out, look out. Andrew says a full drive service and ready. That's good. We're going to hit the dunes. Hit the dunes. Colin, g'day mate. Colin Stalker. First time watching live. Good to have you here, Colin. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Bala, g'day Bala. Anthony, hello. Matt, you got your calendar today? Awesome. So, yeah, the postage was actually pretty good. All right, fantastic. Let's get stuck straight into it. So, I had a question from Gary Fallows. Now, Gary's not in the chat, but he asked a question I thought was a good question that a lot of people might ask. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. Here we go. Izzy, was that haircut sponsored by your flathead brush contract? If you don't know what that's all about, I get emails, which is why I have a Patreon, by the way. I get emails from suppliers, and I'm not a huge YouTuber by any stretch of the imagination. I think about 10,500 subscribers. I think, to really get the big people noticing you need millions or hundreds of thousands. But I do get the odd person sending me a message, and I had a request because of my interest in beauty to review some sort of brush. And I think it might have been like a makeup application brush. But anyway, Izzy has asked, was the haircut sponsored by a flathead brush contract? Yes, we'll go with that. So Gary says, I've been enjoying your YouTube channel very much. Learned a great deal from you. Thanks for all you do. He said, I want to get a Lee or format high-tech filters, but have a few questions. He said, will they work with lenses above 150 millimeters? Or is the filter sweet spot in 35 to 75 mil range? So that's the first question. So with filters, can you use them with a zoom lens? The answer is yes. I've used my Lee filters with my 200 millimeter before and no problem. Of course, I think it changes the gradient and makes it more gradient. So when you zoom right in. Do you have a preference between Lee, Format High Tech, or Nissi? No, I just have the Lee because that's the only system that was available when I first bought my filters for my 14 to 24. If I was completely honest and had my time over again, I would probably buy the Nissi filter set. I think their cases are sexy, but I can see they're doing some great stuff. They're a pretty proactive company, and they've got a lot of different accessories, and their filter holders are excellent. So easy to put CPL and gradients in. So I'd probably go with Nissi if I had to pick from the beginning, but I haven't used them, so I couldn't definitely say, just from what I've seen online. But you guys can put your comments in the comment section as to what filters you use. It might help Gary out when he comes back to watch this video. And then he asked me, have you experienced the filters popping off when weight is added on the lens, or if the lens is pointed down? No, I haven't. He's read about that somewhere in digital photography school. Gave me a link there, but no, I haven't. So, when it comes to filters, I think that you couldn't go too wrong with just about any of those brands. I think they're all pretty good. I think that if you're interested in getting more information, find somebody who's got a set and go out with them. So there's plenty of people in my group that have Nissi. I don't know too many people with the Format High Tech. There's a few people around, but just find somebody that's got the sets and go and have a look, because they are a big investment. When they start buying filters, it can be a big investment. It's a great question from you, Gary. Thank you for that. All right, now I wanted to ask a question. I've got being 2019, I've got this worldwide sticker board behind me. I don't know if you can see that up there. Okay, this is what's called the worldwide sticker board. And what I started was, I decided to start a sticker board where you could send me in a sticker or something from your location, and I'd stick it up on the board. Well, to be honest, it hasn't taken off. It hasn't been as big a success as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's all too hard for you. I don't know. I've got to decide what I do with that. Do I keep it up there? Do I rip it down and stick some images up there? Do we keep the worldwide sticker board and we keep sticking people's stickers up there, and I keep plugging away trying to get people to send them in? I don't know. Up to your feedback. But at this stage, it is still up on the board. If you want to send me a sticker from your area, we'll stick it up on the worldwide sticker board. But I don't know. Its future is uncertain. I'm not sure what we're going to do with it. Yeah. There we go. I can see Colin's got Format High Tech. Very happy. Lots of Nissi users. Nissi. I can see that in there. And Nissi have really, I think they've really taken the filter market by storm. I do have word though from a distributor in Australia for photography equipment, and I'm hoping to get my hands on some that there is a new player coming to the market with magnetic filters. So that would be exciting. So Ren says images would be good. The board is a nice backdrop. Yeah, it is. It is a nice backdrop. But I was actually, I had a thought, and I don't know because it's a bit of work to do, but I had a thought where to encourage printing, because this printer here, by the way, I don't know if anybody's got one of these. This is an Epson P405 printer, relatively cheap in the photographic printing world. But if it doesn't print every week, it actually costs money because the heads then have to go through a cleaning cycle which uses ink. So here's what I was thinking was that we could print something up every week and stick it up there. And in fact, what I was thinking was that I could, you guys from the VIP challenge could send me in your images, or for your VIP challenge, I could pick one and print it during the show. I don't know if that would be too noisy. Don't know. Just a thought. I don't know. I've got these crazy ideas. Maybe we just keep it simple. Okay. So let's get stuck straight into the critiques. And I've got a couple of images today, as always. I did also want to answer a question, and I'm going to do that during the critiques. Matt's asked a question. A couple of episodes, maybe it was last episode before, I showed you a couple of masking techniques that a lot of people don't know you can do. You used to have to use Photoshop up until the beginning of last year. Lightroom released or improved the masking capabilities, and now you've got two different types of masking you can do. So Matt, you're in the chat. Was it using the brush or the gradient tool that you were struggling with in the VIP group? You put a note up in there. Because I just want to make it clear and show everyone how you can go about masking. And we're going to use one of the critique images to do that. Now, before I do that, actually, what I'll do is I'll do the VIP challenge. We'll get that out of the way. I almost forgot to do the VIP challenge, so let me just bring that up. Now, for you those that aren't in the know, the VIP challenge is a challenge for the very important photographer group that we have, which is how you become a part of that when you join the Patreon group. Sorry, I'm just moving my head around to get to the right thing so I can show you. Here we go. All right, so this is the VIP challenge photo album. So what happens is each week, or almost every week, I announce a theme, and then we go crazy shooting them. Now, I am going to make changes to the VIP challenge this year. And that's why I haven't released a new VIP challenge yet for the VIPs. Look out for it. It's coming shortly. And I'm going to change the way that we do it to try and get more people taking advantage of showing off their photos and participating. Anyway, so this challenge was 36. This challenge actually went for some time because we didn't have Pixel Chat for a couple of weeks, so I let the challenge go for a while. And sorry, I was just reading Sam Allen's note there. Print out the winner of each VIP challenge and send it to the winner as a prize. Incentive to enter the challenge. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's a good idea. All right. So let's go through the entries for Seascape, and then what happens with these VIP challenges, the boss goes through these, and boss picks out the winner and then an honourable mention. So I don't judge these, the boss does. And the reason I do that is because she's been around me for a long time. She's not a photographer herself, so she selects what speaks to her. All right, so here we go. Therese Elsie, not quite the sea, but it will run into the sea eventually. Nice. What do we got here? The rocks at, I'm not even going to try and say that, Stephen. Ottawarreri, I did. And Ohope Beach, New Zealand. Beautiful. Bill Dunshee, Ohope Beach. He was over there near Stephen. New Year's Eve, beautiful. He's got this spot near his house. We've seen a couple of photos of this tree. Lovely spot. New Year's Eve, Ohope Beach. How nice would it be to live there? Beautiful. Therese Elsie once again. Birubi Beach. Birubi. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anna Bay. Ren Thielen, Preston Beach. Popular full dry beach south of Perth. Long exposure. Nice one. Sand due to Preston Beach, also from Ren. I like that one. That's nice. Therese Elsie. Not often we see the sun setting over the ocean here on the east coast. So Barubi Beach and Anna Bay, you can. Didn't know that. There you go. Stephen Cast again. Same. That's looks like that same tree or one of those creative trees. A longer challenge. Here's another image. So he's stuck an extra image in, being a longer challenge. Awesome. Paul Goody. Nambucca Heads. Nice. Paul Goody again. Nambucca Heads. Nice location, isn't it? Nambucca Heads looks good. Paul Goody. Evil Clouds. Yeah, we've seen lots of those lately down this way in Australia. Lots of storms. Wow. What do we got here? Fallen Dragon. Yarrabah. This is Tim Trim. It's quite impressive. Yeah. Therese Elsie, Soldiers Beach Sunset. Nice. Love the way the water's running off those rocks. Stephen Cast, East Cape Mountains in the background. Nice. Beautiful. Another sunrise from Stephen Cast. Beautiful. Certainly got out with his camera a fair bit. Greg West, Sunset and Anna Bay. Also at the same sort of spot. There you go. Sunrise at Boat Harbour. Beautiful. Nice spot. Camel Rock, New South Wales. Yeah, he posted this in our group. I love this shot. Multi-image stitched together. And if you haven't seen Camel Rock, it looks like a camel from a certain angle. Renthelen, Buffalo Beach. Sunset in Leschenault area of North Bunbury, WA. Oh, you guys in WA are spoilt with these sunsets over the water. All right. So let me go to the runner-up, or the honourable mention for the challenge this time is the Fallen Dragon, Tim Trim. Well done, Tim. And the winner of this week's VIP challenge is Greg West. Well done, mate, with your Camel Rock panoramic image. Alrighty. If you want to become a VIP, as I said before, the link is down in the description. Go to patreon.com/on3legs and you can become a VIP. Well done to all the VIPs that have participated. The whole idea of that challenge is to encourage you to get out and shoot. Because that's what it's all about. Get out and shoot. All right, I'm going to check the chat box quickly and then we're going to jump straight into the critiques. Home when Pixel Chatter is on, a rare event, says Kiwi Spoon. Hey, well, g'day, welcome. Matt said the brush. Okay, cool. Has anyone used Pro Media Gear tripods? How do you like them? Pro Media Gear tripods. If anybody used one of those, let Chance know. Benro do magnetic ones already. Do they? Okay. Lots of innovations, yeah. Handy parts, QSL card, postcard, QSL card. Renthelen images would be good. Yeah, so bit of feedback on the board, eh? Rick got spiders and numbats. Numbats. Fair enough. All right. So let's jump into critique this week. So I've got two images, and I'm going to talk a little bit about those masking. In fact, let's just do that first. Well, let's do it in the image critique. That's probably a good way. That way we can use the image critique as at the same time we can look at a technique or two in Lightroom. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let's get that happening. Now, by the way, if you've got any questions about anything I do in Lightroom, feel free to ask. One of the things I was thinking about doing was like a weekly Lightroom tip video. There's already a lot out there, but I find a lot of them very long. Just quick tips is what I was thinking. Just one thing at a time rather than 10 ways to do something. Because Lightroom's incredible when you start using it properly. All right, so we've got two images. One on the left is from Rob Roy, who is a very prolific, proactive contributor to the Pixel Chatter show. So thanks, Rob. And then on the right, we have this one here from Craig Gillespie, who submitted his first image, I think, before Christmas. And this is the second time he's had an image in for critique. And so we'll check that out. This is actually from Tassie. So we've got this one here from Washington, Vancouver, Washington in the United States. I think that's where Rob would have taken it. Let's have a look at the notes. So that's where he lives. Yeah, in his neighbourhood. There you go. And this one on the right was in Tassie. All right. So let's start off with Rob's beautiful image, and gone through that process of having the nice, what they call fall colours. We call it autumn here in Australia. And overall, it's a nice image. I really do like it. And I think it was one of Rob's that made me show you the masking tool before. But there is a couple of tricks you can use with when you go into the develop module for masking that a lot of people don't know about. So when you apply, for example, a gradient filter, say I wanted to settle down the... Oh, that didn't go so well. That was me touching my Wacom tablet. Say I wanted to adjust this area here because it's too bright over here on the left, and I wanted to settle that sky down. I've got a couple of choices, or up until these new tools came about, I had a couple of choices. Now, one of them was, I'll just jump into the develop module. One of them was to use a brush and go through and try and brush everything. So I could select a brush. I could drop the exposure down. Let me reset everything else to normal. And then I could just brush in there. Now, one of the challenges if I do that, as you can see, is now I'm making the leaves darker as well. And so I think a lot of people would have, had that problem before, whether it's with a brush or with a graduated filter. This is a problem. So what you can do, let's just zoom right in for a second. And this is a smaller file, so it may not work as well, but let's have a look. What you can do when you select a brush, over here on the right hand side, if you have a look at the bottom under where you adjust the brush size, feather and flow, there's a little box that says auto mask. If you click that box, what it does is it auto masks. Now you'll see there's two circles on the brush. I'll put it over that leaf so it maybe make it easier for you to see, but you'll notice this when you do it. There's like an inner circle and the outer circle for your feather. My understanding is whatever is in the inner circle. Okay, so if I change my feather, you'll see that outer circle changes. So my understanding is whatever is inside that inner circle is what it's going to know you want to select. So if you make your brush small enough so that inner circle, now I'm going to drop my exposure down so you can see how this works. And if I just brush in here, you'll see that what it's doing is it is actually going around the leaves. Can you see that? So it's automatically masking around the leaves. So that inner brush, or the before the feather, tells Lightroom where I want to mask. Now, I would definitely adjust that afterwards. And there's like a weird haloing, so you've got to be careful, but you get the idea, right? It's actually auto masking. So let's just go down here a bit. Let me just move down here. We'll do the same thing down here. And what it does is it knows that you want to go around something, okay? So that's one way to use this tool. So that's auto masking. So if you ever want to make a quick adjustment and you want to go around something, this auto mask feature is awesome. Now there's another way that we can use it. And I'm just going to zoom back out. There's another way that we can use this auto masking brush and get the same effect. And that is if you zoom right out on your image, let's go to 1, 2, 4, and you make your brush really big. So I'm going to go really big. So it's bigger than my picture. And then you just click in the area that you want. Now you'll see, I'll now zoom back in so you can see what's happened. Let's go to fit. So all I did was click once in this lighter area. And what Lightroom knows is that I want to mask everything that is lighter. So now I could adjust the exposure of all those areas. See that? So it allows me to adjust those areas. And this is a great way to do things. Let's say you wanted to add some warmth or some coolness. I can change the color hue. I could desaturate just that area. Or increase the saturation. I could do so many things. I could dehaze the foggy area. I could increase the blacks. I could, all these things. I could reduce the highlights just in those areas. So what I've been able to do by doing that is select, by just pressing it there, it's selected pixels that are the same. Now, what if I didn't want the road to be in it? Well, if I didn't want the road to be in my mask, then all I have to do is hit the 0 key to bring up the mask. You can see it's red. And if I hit the Alt key, you'll see my plus in the middle of my brush turns to a minus. See that? Now, if you're using a tablet, usually the back of the pen is at default for eraser. But then I can just erase where that mask went on the road if I didn't want it to apply to any of that. Okay, so see how quickly that happened? And I've still got my mask in the sky. So this is allowing me to make changes just in the sky now. See that? And it's a really good feature. So that's one way, if you want to make changes, that you can make these changes to just limited areas of your picture, and it's makes it really easy just to adjust small things. So I used that in one of the critiques, and I was asked in the VIP group what was it I actually did. So obviously I went through it too quick. So hopefully you got it that time. Did everyone follow me that time? Everyone cool with that? Let me know in the comments if you are. Now the second way of doing it is to use a graduated filter. So you click on the graduated filter and let's just apply one. Okay, now if I was to use this, now this is a situation where you couldn't use a graduated filter for real because you're going to darken all the trees and stuff, and you can see that if, in this case here, you can see that I'm adjusting the whole top half of the image. Yet what I can do is, once again, there's a masking feature called range masking here. And if you click on this range mask and you turn it into luminance, or you can use color. Okay, so let's look at both. Let's start off with luminance. Now, same thing, if you press O, it'll bring up the mask, and you can see right now it's masking everything. But what I can do is I can say I want to only use the top end range of the luminance. So as I slide my slider up from the bottom, you'll see it starts deselecting anything that's not bright. Okay. So now what I've done, I'll turn off the mask. Now what I can do is I can actually adjust the areas that are brighter and not affect the darker areas. Okay, and usually that's the way to get around haloing, right? If you do use the other method to darken the sky, you'll get haloing. Whilst this does darken some of the leaves and things, it's really focused on bright pixels. Okay, so that's what the luminance does. And of course, if you just wanted to increase the shadows, for example, so I could bring this down. Let me bring the mask back up. I could bring my range down to the bottom half, and I'm pressing O to bring that red up, which is the mask. And now I'm just going to brighten up the shadows in the image. See that? Okay, not my sky. So that's how you use it in luminance. Now, let's change it to color. Now, color is one that I use a lot. So let's say I wanted to change the color of the leaves, and that's all I wanted to do. Well, what I can do now is if I click on the leaf with this little water. So what I did was over here next to the range mask, when you select color, you get this little eyedropper. I clicked on a leaf there. I'll click on a leaf here, but you've got to hold down the shift key. You're allowed to sample 5 colors. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to turn my mask on so it's viewable by hitting 0. There we go. Now you can see that has really successfully selected all of these red leaves. So let's watch what happens. Let's say I want to warm the leaves up. Okay, it was autumn. Watch this. I'm warming the leaves up. I'm going to increase their exposure a little bit. I'm going to increase their contrast a bit. I'm going to drop the highlights on the leaves. I'm going to increase the sharpness on the leaves, the clarity on the leaves. I'm going to dehaze them slightly. Now I'm going extreme. So what you can do, see this down here? On both of these, you have this amount. So I can slide it back and lessen the effect, or I can increase the effect, okay, of its masking as well. So I'm going to just decrease it a little bit down here. And now what that's done is that mask has just, and it's still overdone, I've overcooked it, but you can see how I've just changed the leaves and nothing else. So it allows you to select colors out of your image and just mask those and do something with those. So if let's do it again on the bottom. So I'm going to grab another mask and I'm going to hold the shift key down to keep the line straight. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go to color. I'm going to get my eyedropper, and I'm going to grab the fence. Okay, let's do something to the fence. So I'm just going to put 5 eyedroppers along the fence. Let's have a look and see how well it did. There we go. It also got some here, unfortunately. So I can go through and you can keep this on whilst you try and select other colors and just see if you can reduce what it's grabbing. And then you can use this here to adjust what it's getting in the range. So here we go. It's getting better. Let's see if I can help it out a bit more. Just selecting different colors. Oh, didn't like that one, so we're just going to get rid of that one there. So all I did was hit the Alt key, by the way, if I want to get rid of one of my points. So I'm pretty happy with how that selected the fence. It has got a few of the leaves and things, but that's okay. I'll just reduce the amount a little bit more. A little bit more. Look at that. It's pretty successfully masked the fence for me using that range color mask. So now that I've got that, I can go, you know what? I want to make the fence warmer. I want to bring up the timber in that fence and the clarity of that fence. What's this? Look at that. And so now what I've done, if I show you the before and after, have a look at the trees and the fence in that image. Okay, now before, this was only really, you were only able to really do this in Photoshop with any great precision. And now you can see straight away what it's done to this image. So quite often what I will do is I will go through and make selections like that. And it works really, really well for bringing out colours in foliage, things like this timber fence. I think is a beautiful feature. So you can see how, you know, if we look at the before and then the after, let's just go lights out and full screen. Let's get that. There we go. If you ever look at the before and then the after at the fence in particular, the tree is definitely a bit overdone, but still looks okay. You can see the difference that you can make, and it hasn't affected other areas of the image. And that's what you want to be able to do when it comes to editing your photos. You want to be able to make it so you can, you know, bring the vibrance or what you saw when you were standing there, because your camera, when you shoot RAW, your camera will shoot flat. So that's a way around it. So hopefully, did I explain it clear enough that time? Hopefully everyone saw step by step. Let me know in the comments if you found that helpful. And I'm just going to reset this image. Let me just have a bit of my coffee. Okay, so we can go back to where we were. Get back to the grid. Still getting used to my Wacom. Enjoying my coffee. So let me just jump back over here for a second. Oh, crikey. Coffee went down the wrong hole. Have you ever had that happen? Had a drink at the wrong time. Or I show the mask, it's O, not 0. Yeah, sorry, it's O. The letter O shows the mask. I actually have it on my Wacom tablet as a button, but you're right, it's O. It's a great feature, but I'll sleep tonight and forget about it. Yeah. All right, so you guys have got that down pat. Awesome. All right, we'll finish that off. That's good. So let's jump into critiquing them. Let's have a look at the image and we'll go from there. Oh, by the way, I'm going to show you my shirt. See this? I had a couple of people ask me about them, so I set up a little store using Teesprings, I think it is, with some merchandise on the YouTube channel. So I don't know if you can see it below the video or not. It's supposed to show up somewhere. Certainly not going to pay my mortgage. They keep most of the money, but hopefully their gear's good. This shirt did not come from Teespring. This one came from a local company in Australia. But if you do want to get your own, that's how you can do it. So if you're asking me where to get those, that's where you can get them from. I've made the design available on Teespring. Okay, let's jump into Photoshop. Let's do this. Sorry, Lightroom. What did I say? So this is Rob Roy's image. Thanks, Rob. I used your image as an example, and it was a good example of what could be done. So let's look at this technically, and then let's look at it from a composition and post-processing point of view. Technically, shot at ISO 200. He's shot this with his, let me have a look, Nikon D500 20mm f1.8 lens. So he shot it at 20mm. It's a prime lens, and at f4, 1/200th of a second. I would say it was probably handheld. Yep, no tripod. So we had to shoot it at a higher shutter speed to get it nice and sharp. So handheld on the side of the road, and beautiful spot. And he said, "Hey Ben, last one here in the neighbourhood by my work, early morning." And yes, you see a theme here: fog and fall, my favourite combos. We have seen a lot of photos from Rob in the fall or in autumn in his local area with these beautiful colours. So definitely a time of year that he's enjoying. And, another beautiful photo. First of all, from a technical aspect, there's not much I would have changed. I think F4 was risky. And the reason I say that is you've got this here right up close, this tree on the right. Oh, gosh. Struggling with I'm using my... Oh boy, wrong way around, Ben. Go 4-1. Yeah, I'm using my mouse trackpad instead of my Wacom because I'm not used to my Wacom 100% yet, and I'm making more mistakes with that than I would probably with my Wacom. So there you go. So as you can see, this here is not in focus, okay? And this is the tree that was on the very right-hand side of his frame. Now, that's not a big deal because we know what it is and we can see it, and maybe he didn't want it in focus, but that's the danger with F4. And if we were to zoom right in up here, hard to see. It looks like it is in focus. That's pretty good. And with a prime lens, quite often you will get away with it too. So it's pretty good. It's just that tree there. And you might have struggled to at any aperture, and you're forced to make a decision in this scenario. So this is a good example of when you've got to make decisions, and understanding your camera is what's going to help you make the decision. So you're forced, do I go higher ISO or lower F number? Because I need to speed my shutter speed up. It's handheld and it's dark, right? Now it's not night, but there's not a huge amount of light here, right? So definitely something that you've got to think about. So from a technical aspect, I would have, with that camera, I would have been comfortable probably going to ISO 800, which means that you could have just upped your aperture a little bit to f5.6 or maybe 7.1 or something, just give you that little bit more depth of field, but I don't think it's a big issue. I think it's pretty good. All right, so that's the technical aspect. Now, from a composition point of view, I love it. I love the leading line of the fence coming in. I mean, it really does draw your eye in. If we just jump into the develop module quickly and put the rule of thirds over the top, you can clearly see the fence, which is the leading line, sits on this intersection. This actual intersection in the road sits on this intersection. It just works really, really nice. So it's a nice crop. A nice composition and works well. Things are leaning in a little bit, and I don't know if that is the actual trees, and I'd say it's not. It looks like the lens was maybe pointed up slightly, creating some lean in, and that's easy to remove with a bit of distortion removal if you wanted to. Entirely up to you whether you want to get rid of that effect or not. And a bit hard for me because I can't actually see my little things there. So you can remove a bit of the distortion. Actually, no, it's going to be in transform because we want to remove the vertical distortion. So you could straighten things up like that. The problem is when you straighten things up like that, then you've got to recrop because you lose a little bit of your image when you do that. Right? So that was just the transform function inside of Lightroom. Okay. So, if we look at the before and the after, you can just see it sort of gets rid of that distortion. Okay, that was before and that's after. And to me, it's a small change, but I like to get it looking a little bit more natural. That's just my thing. That's what I do. It also may now need a little bit of straightening, I think. Let me just go this way, just that way. There we go. So, if we look at the before and the after so far, all we've done is make changes to the distortion. I also think, I get it's foggy and misty, but it still could do with a little bit more punch to me. And so I wouldn't be afraid to do that, to come into the basic, do some of those adjustments I did before. You could do some of it without it, just, a little bit of the clarity, a little bit of the, bring the whites up a tad, maybe blacks down a little bit, contrast up a tad, highlights down a tad, exposure up a tad. There we go. Maybe some vibrance. So Yeah, something like that. So now you've got a little bit more vibrance in it. I'd be careful with the dehaze. The dehaze is going to remove the fogginess, but up close to the camera, I don't think that's a bad thing. So I'm going to just put +10, +9, somewhere around there. I like it. I'm going to just warm it up just a little tad, maybe just a tad. And then, I'd grab my brush, bit of clarity on the brush, give this fence a whack, give these trees here a bit of a whack, these ones over here. I'm doing this real rough, but you get the picture, right? So, yeah, we'll keep the crop where it is. All right, so there we go. So let's have a look at that. What's going on there? Bring this back into the middle. There we go. Let's just do before and after. Before and after. Okay, and the main thing is it just creates depth, when you... I still haven't lost that there. I've actually overcompensated. You can see it's not straight, but that's all right. You get the idea. To me, otherwise, Robert was a great photo. There's not too much I would change. That's just me and my editing styles, I guess. Let me just try and straighten that out a bit. Definitely. Something like that. I think that looks good. Beautiful shot. Nice spot. Nice locale. Well done, mate. All right. Next one. Craig sent this one in. And this one was from Tassie. Where's the notes? There they are. He said, I hope you had a great new year. This shot was taken from my recent trip to Tasmania, Macquarie Point near Strachan. Time, sunset. Tassie was great, but I think we had the best 10 days of weather ever recorded in Tassie. Hardly seen a cloud for 10 days, and it made it impossible to do much shooting during the day. So bright with harsh shadows. Yeah, of course. Now, I'm instantly technically seeing a problem here with this dark corner. We'll get to that in a second. And that's what I'm talking about with filters, right? So, classic example when filters aren't going to work in the field. And if it's been done post-process, then you're learning a way around that. We'll come to that in a second. And I think it might have been done post-process because to me, there's something going on here. Oh, yeah, something going on up this top corner here, which is sort of going around here. So I don't know what's happened. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So let's have a look at what he shot this with a Sony of some sort, a mirrorless 7M2. Don't know what that is. At ISO 100, 95 seconds at f13, so a nice long exposure. And yeah, from that point of view, from a camera settings point of view, I think all those settings are good. All right, let's jump into the develop module. Yeah, like I said, the first thing I'm noticing, it's a little bit, there's a few things that are happening here. First of all, you've got some movement in the grass, and that's going to happen with a longer exposure because if the wind is blowing, things like that are going to move out. So the only way to get around that is to take multiple exposures and blend them together. So you take a faster exposure and expose for the grass, and try and take something quicker, even at a higher ISO, and you can blend it in later in Photoshop. The reality is that if you have a bit of noise inside of your grass from your high ISO, it's not going to be extremely noticeable, okay? Because the same with water. You don't get a lot of ISO noise issues with water because it's already got texture in it that's sort of hard to make a spot. So that would be the first issue. You can see that this is all pretty sharp, which is good, but then the grass isn't. So that's sort of a bit of a distraction. My second distraction is this dark corner up here. I mean, it's just black. If I was to highlight the little warning thing, which is if you click on the top arrow of your histogram on the left, it gives you this blue, which is your shadows. If you do the one on the right, it gives you the highlights. But this one's suffering from shadows. So this is lost detail here. And I don't know if that's recoverable or not. Yeah, it is to some extent. So the original file might have it recoverable. Don't know. It's something that you can think about. All right. Now, to me, this is just a classic example of either using a filter for real in the field or using one in Lightroom afterwards to try and fix the brightness of this sun. And a classic example where you could take a graduated filter inside a Lightroom and do a range mask for luminance and select the brighter pixels, and that is going to allow you then to adjust things like highlights just in the sky. So you could adjust your highlights, adjust your exposure. You could do whatever you like up there where it matters, you know. So whenever you've got a circumstance where you've got something like a tree, you can't use your filters in the field unless you're prepared to have a dark tree. And you know what you could do is do multiple exposures and blend them together, like some sort of HDR. And that's the other thing that's happening here. To me, this foreground is just too bright. So I would be tempted to lower the exposure on the foreground a bit. It's just a bit too bright for this image. And let me just get this other one at the top here and get rid of the clarity out of the top one. Maybe now I could overall increase the exposure of the image and try and get it a bit more even. So what happens if you're not careful is you end up with something that's unnatural, you know, and so you want it to be as natural as you can make it. And this black tree certainly is not natural. It's a bit distracting. But if we have a look now just at the before and after, so you can see how it's just a bit more balanced. Okay, so this was before and this is after. Before and after. Even things like the water, you can see the water now is starting to get a better look to it. And so it is about learning just those little techniques to help you understand how to make adjustments once you've got it in here. The other thing you could do is something like a bit of dodging and burning of things. I'm going to invert that mask and just drop the exposure in there a little bit because it's a bit bright. And this is a great way just to go through and dodge and burn your image a bit. I'm just duplicating that. Just anything that you think is too bright, don't be afraid to sort of just settle it down a bit with a little radial filter. They work really good. And all I did there, by the way, is I'm holding down I think it's the command key. Yep. Right clicking and then duplicate. So once I've created one filter, I can then use it many times wherever I want, make it bigger, make it smaller, adjust the effect of it. And this is just dodging and burning. You can also dodge and burn with a brush, of course. Grab a brush, drop the exposure slightly. And what I do when I dodge and burn, I typically drop the exposure right down. And then, if I wanted to just, something like this, for example, if I wanted to really accentuate the shadows on this tree, you can see how it's really dark what I'm doing. But what I'll do is, once I'm done, I then can make adjustments. I'm doing this roughly, but you'll get the idea. What I'll do once I'm done and I've adjusted is I'll bring my exposure back up, so it's not as big a deal. But it just brings a bit of light and shade into the image. So if I do let's just do a lights out of before and after, you can sort of see the difference that has made. Just adds more depth and dynamics to the image. And to me, that's what it's all about, is bringing your images to life. So that's before and that's after. Now remember, I'm working with a JPEG here too. I'm not working with the raw image. So when you've got the JPEG, the differences that you can make are quite big. But for me, the biggest distraction for me in this is this up here, this tree, and there's not a lot you can do about that now. With the raw image, you probably could save it, bringing up the shadows, maybe. I don't know how much detail you would have in your raw image up here, but in this particular picture, it's in trouble. But good composition. I think the composition's great, and the thing that works really well here, let's just have a quick look at that once again, put the rule of thirds over here. The thing that works really, really nicely is this log here, drawing the eye towards the sun, and the sun is there, beautiful. So good composition, just the aspects of your post-processing that need to change just a little bit. Just be careful. And like I said, I'm not sure when you use your filter in the field or not, but if you're going to use your filters, really avoid using them when there's trees and things, because it's just too hard to fix later. You're much better off doing multiple exposures and trying to use blending to bring them together. And it's getting easier and easier with software. The other thing, I feel like it's not 100% straight. Let's just see what does Lightroom think. Yeah, Lightroom thinks the same thing, I think, and I agree with Lightroom. There we go. Otherwise, it looks really good. The only other thing I would do is I definitely would get a brush on this branch here. And let me just bring exposure back up. And I would hit it with clarity. And I know you've all seen me do this. When you've got a hero like this in your shot, hit it with a bit of detail. And I'm going overboard because that's how I do it to start with. And then I bring it back to what I'm comfortable with. I would definitely do that. Maybe just drop that exposure a little bit now because the clarity bumped it up. There we go. So once again, before, after. Before, after. You know, and it just, you can just make it that a little bit more appealing to the eye. I like it as a pano too, look at that. Before, after. In fact, I enjoy it more like that, I think, as a pano. Oh, not too far in. Something like that. You could almost, you know, that tree could become a non-event if you zoom right in. Anyway, you get the idea. Beautiful picture. Well done. Well done to both of those guys. Thank you, Craig, and thank you, Rob, for sending in your images. They're both fantastic images. And if you want to get your images onto the Pixel Chatter show, you can just find the email address down below. But send your images through to Ben at On3Legs. That's the word 3, on3legs.com. And yeah, send me 3 images is always better. It gives me some to choose from. And I don't know, I might do your other images in later weeks. And yeah, just send them through. Make sure you send all the EXIF information and try and make them at least 3,000 pixels on the widest edge. Alrighty, so there we go. Another successful show, and that's the first one for 2019. Great images, well done. Hopefully you all found the tips helpful as I went through and just made a few adjustments to those images, because I think it is sometimes it's the small things. And I know for me, when I first started in digital photography, my biggest frustration was trying to learn how to process my images. So you get out there, you take your photos, you see an amazing thing with your eyes, and then you try and recreate it in your image, and that can be really, really difficult. So it's good to learn a few techniques. Remembering back in the film days, we didn't typically process our own images; the lab did. So we just left it up to the lab to sort of make sure they were doing the right thing. Now that you've got full control, I think it is just about learning a few of those tips and understanding. Alrighty. Okay, so let's have a look in the comments here and see what's going on. Shots a cracker, Greg. Yes, it was. Great tip. Big brush with auto mask. Nice, yeah. So zoom right out with your picture. Use the big brush. Awesome feature. Better than Lightroom 4. Yeah, I think it's only available in the new Creative Cloud Lightroom Classic CC. But I could be wrong, so I don't want to steer you wrong. Try it in but it's something that I think is only available in that. There we go. Just check. Yeah, so it was Craig Gillespie and Rob Roy sent those photos in, and I think I don't have a lot more images, but if you want to send some more in, you can. Just got the reminder on your phone at 9:20, Brian. Crikey. YouTube's doing well, isn't it? Izzy, as a challenge idea, could you offer everyone a raw file to edit and choose the best creative edit and maybe print the winner and put them on the back wall? That's a good idea. G'day, Paul. Hi, Mr. Ben. Good critique, Paul from Quebec. G'day, Paul. Yeah, well, I'm happy to take your suggestions and you know, if you've got some ideas, send them in. but the weekly challenge, what I'm thinking with the weekly challenge to encourage more entries is to, because right now for the VIPs, the restriction is it has to be taken that week. And I can see that is challenging for people if the weather's not right or you're busy. So that's one idea, is to remove that restriction. And then, maybe what I could do is print the winner of the VIP challenge and send it out. From a cash flow perspective, the problem with that is to post images internationally is not cheap. I've just learnt that sending calendars around. It cost me about $30 to send a calendar overseas. And it's just to do with the size. So I don't know what size images I would be printing. One of the things that I did do over the break was I played around with my printer, and I think I found my new favourite paper, this one here. So this is a cold press bright art paper from Epson, and it just did a really nice job. Then I had this one here, which is another nice paper, but it's more like a rag. And then this is your premium luster paper, which but I really like these. This one here, I think I don't know who else prints, but talking about printing. So that's the size I would probably do, like an A4, which is a nice size image. Anyway, something to think about. And the other thing to think about is, do I keep doing Pixel Chatter on a Saturday? Does this time suit everybody, or do I change it and make it better for everybody else? Thomas, great show, Ben. 11:30 here, going to bed now. Good night, Thomas. Thanks for sticking around. Gary says, enjoyed the show. Thank you. All right, well, we'll wrap it up. That's time's up. Congratulations to Greg and Tim for those great images in the challenge. Thank you to Rob Roy and to Craig Gillespie for sending in your images for critique. Really do appreciate that. And thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in live, because, of course, without you guys, I wouldn't have a live show. It would just be me recording a show without any editing and then getting uploaded. All right. So I'm going to get out and play a little bit more with this beast here, the GFX. That is my goal, is to get out and play with that as much as I can before I have to give it back. So I'm going to get out and give that a go. If you do have any questions about the GFX or the medium format that you want to ask, or any tests you want me to do between that and the D810 or D850, ask away, because I'm happy to try and fit it in where I can. And I've actually got, I'm at work this week, and then I've got a week and a bit off. So I'm going to be pretty happy to do whatever for a week with the cameras. I will be on holidays with the family, but I'll have some photography time as well. All right, so just a reminder, everything's down in the description below, including a link to come to Tassie with me in May. We still have a couple of spots available for our Tassie tour, which is shaping up to be an amazing event as usual. We're going to be there. We're going to do some macro. Hopefully we'll get there for the turning of the Fagas and see some beautiful autumn, or what they call fall colours, in other parts of the world. And it's going to be really exciting. So thanks again for joining me, and until next week, get out there and take some photos. Cheerio.